Welcome to our akeytsu tutorial series focusing on skinning workflows. Before we go into weight paint tools and weight numeric editing, we have to explain how weights are shared and transferred in akeytsu. This video will center on how skin weights are distributed in akeytsu and how to effectively edit them once a mesh is bound. We'll be using the SkySurfer test model included in the akeytsu installation package. Please feel free to practice and learn with it. When you have no active vertex selection, you can select a joint from the picker or from the viewport. In this case, I'm picking from the viewport, and paint any vertex using the Paint Weights tool. This will add or remove weight influence to the selected joint. We call this free painting. The default behavior is that when adding weight to an influence joint, we will steal it away from other joints applied to these vertices. When removing weight from a joint influence, we will distribute it to other joint influences applied to these vertices. In the case that multiple joint influences are already applied, weight addition and removal will be done proportionally to the strength of the influences before the addition. There's a specific case when removing weights from rigid skin. Rigid skin areas are easily spotted because they are shown in bright yellow in the viewport. That means that the weight value for these vertices equals 1 for the selected influence. When removing weight from a rigid influence, we have to find another influence to transfer it to. So, if I set my weight down to 0.3 and I click subtract by clicking the right mouse key, we know that we'll have to find another influence to transfer it to. So akeytsu distributes it to the closest parent or child depending on vertex position. Start by selecting two joints in the picker or the viewport by holding down Control in the picker to select multiple influences. This will automatically lock all other influences. It's crucial to do so when you want to exclusively transfer weights from one joint to another. The influence shown in the viewport will be the one of the last selected joint, in this case, the arm. All other influences are locked, as we can see here in the picker. You can switch the influence display in the viewport by clicking on the joint name in the Skin Atelier window. As you can see, when adding and removing weights, you are only transferring weights between unlocked influences. By subtracting weights from the arm, I have automatically only added them to the forearm. There are also certain skin areas where you'll want to deal with multiple influences, especially when you have a parent joint sharing weights with multiple joints. To work with these areas, a good way is to select all the joints connecting the group to their influence in the Skin Atelier window. In this example, I'm going to select the entire chain of the hand, which will automatically show me all the relative influences in the window over here to our right. When handling multiple influences on joints, you can decide to solely rely on the basic transfer rules we outlined before, but the results may not be to your liking. For finer control, you can lock certain influences at will. In this case, I will lock all of the thumb and index fingers. I will then highlight the middle finger. I will proceed to smooth paint the middle finger and be assured that none of that weight will bleed over into the index or thumbs. Again, don't forget you can switch the influence display in the viewport by clicking on the joint name in the skinning window over here. By operating like this, you'll be able to dynamically transfer weights between several joint influences in a safe and effective manner. There are occasions where you want to focus on certain areas. Please refer to the dedicated tutorial to learn about different ways to select vertices. In rigging mode, influences applied to select vertices will automatically be unlocked and listed in the Skin Atelier window. Other influences will be locked by default, but you can choose to add them by control-clicking either in the viewport or the picker window. You can choose to either lock or select vertices attached to these influences from the window as well. In this case, the head contains a large amount of vertices, so we're only going to really focus on the eye. We can see that the eye is not controlling what you'd expect it to be. It has control over a wide range of the head. To solve this, we can do any number of different weight painting exercises to either subtract weight from around the surrounding skin, or we can simply select the eye and reassign weights. In this case, I will select points on the eyeball itself, and I will go to the head and remove all the weight from it. Removing the weight from the head will automatically distribute it to the right eye. This is because these two joints are the only two I have selected. Therefore, only data transfer between them will go to their respective influences. The same can be done with the eye itself and the head. If I select the influences, I can now do any number of ways to deselect the vertices of the eyeball, or simply select one vertex on the head, selecting all connected vertices, and simply removing the head mesh. You'll notice that the eyebrows are separate, therefore by selecting the eyebrows as well, we can also be assured to remove influences from the eyeball. Now, once we move the eye, only the eye moves. Additionally, we'll usually want to add some movement to the lids. This is easily achieved by setting our strength value to a very low precision while having the eyeball selected and having the corresponding vertices selected. I'm going to turn off my backface painting mode, increase my spinner for my brush size, and start painting in values around the eye. Smooth out a little bit on top and around. Move the eyeball, and you instantly have fleshy eyeball movement. When painting or editing values, these changes will only apply to the selected vertices. It's important to know how to effectively use the Skin Atelier window for the greatest advantage of time and ease in your skinning workflow. In conclusion, with different use cases we've covered, you should now be able to fine-tune your character skinning. In the next video, I'll go over the different painting tools at your disposal.